Welcome to the Red Hook Town Board meeting of Tuesday, July 29th, 2025. May I ask you to join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all very much. Eric, for the folks at home, if you'd be kind enough to pan over to the big screen so they can, they can take a look at what we'll be discussing tonight. We have essentially a couple of grants that we'll be applying for. If you've been following along, I think a couple meetings ago we discussed some potential opportunities for some capital projects that we're contemplating or in the middle of. And so these are two that are due by the consolidated funding application deadline of July 31st. And so we have both the resolutions and pretty much draft but almost finalized applications as well tonight for consideration. We will be also approving a contract. As you know, we received a grant to develop a natural resources inventory. We have a task force who's agreed to serve as part of this process. We'll need to go out and do an RFP for the consultant to have shepherd the NRI, and so we'll be looking at that RFP and whether or not we're at a point where we can go ahead and approve that as well. We have, since it's the second meeting of the month, we review department, committee, and board reports as well. So with that being said, announcements. I don't think we have any announcements. Just a reminder to folks, we talked about this previously, Rebuilding Together, looking for applications. It's a wonderful program. It assists folks who are not able to make repairs on their homes. We had a successful project this year right over here in Red Hook Estates. A senior widow who needed a lot of help, especially with accessibility projects around the house. Get your applications in. We did a mailer to those who we think may be eligible by September 30th. It's Rebuilding Together. Okay, with that being said, anybody else have any other announcements? No, hearing none. As we always do, we're going to take public comments for 15 minutes tonight, or up to 15 minutes. Is there somebody who would like to make some public comments?
Yes, I will.
Okay. Albert, if you'd be kind enough to state your name, please.
Absolutely.
Sharon Marion.
My name is Albert Trezor, 77 West Curly Corners Road, Tivoli, New York.
Can you check that out?
First, I'd like to thank the board for naming me as the lead defendant in their lawsuit against the public referendum. It's kind of fun to be back in litigation again. It's something I've always enjoyed. And it leads me to what I want to say. I cannot understand why you are objecting to a public referendum. It's the purest form of democracy. It gives everyone in the town an opportunity to be heard and express their concerns, then have a say in the outcome. Now, unless the five of you feel you know what's best and want the rest of us just to sit down and be quiet. In addition, you're dumping this on the village. You're going to take the money and run, and the village is woefully unprepared. They don't have their zoning in place. They just got wrapped $25,000 for mismanagement of their sewer treatment plant. As I understand it, they're mandated to pay for repairs in excess of 6 figures, and now RUPCO plans on dumping another 40 units into that system. Now, I just really feel that that is wrong. And you can't just take the money and go away. You are the cause of this. It's your idea for public housing, and you owe the village residents a duty to stay in this and explain to them exactly what's coming down. Give them an opportunity to be heard. I suggest you hold the public referendum. Have public meetings, joint meetings with the village board and yourselves, and explain to the people what you're doing, how you're doing it. Now, I think you'll be, and then hold a public referendum. I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised. I think it'll pass. And the reason I say that is, I'm not against affordable housing. I don't think anyone in this room is against affordable housing. We all understand current real estate prices, rentals, by God, public housing is necessary. What we're objecting to is the way you're treating us. Okay? We don't like the manner in which you're doing it. You're treating us like mushrooms. You're keeping us in the dark until the last minute. This agenda went up 24 hours before the day. And then on top of that, you're feeding us platitudes. We don't need platitudes, we need facts. There's a dozen questions I would like answered about Rupco and how you came about to choose these people, what their reputation is, etc. I don't want to get into it tonight. Hold the public referendum. Hold the meetings. Give people an opportunity to be heard. I think, again, you'll be pleasantly surprised. I think it will pass. But don't just shove it down our throats by opposing it, taking it to court, every other damn thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Al. Would anybody else like to make some comments? Roxanne,
Yes.
if you'd be kind enough to state your name, please.
Excuse me. Roxanne Fisher, Barrytown, New York. I just have a short statement to make, and it concerns the Natural Resource Inventory, the NRI, which is going to be discussed tonight, which will include perhaps mapping wetlands, floodplains, habitats, tidal hazards, and climate.
Roxanne, can you talk to the
Oh, I'm sorry. And climate risks. The findings may very well expose the flaws in the Red Hook Boat Club site and reveal that it is unsuitable for a public park. The planning board's prior request for detailed plans suggests the NRI could force clarity on costs and feasibility, potentially exposing taxpayer burdens. An independent, neutral NRI must guide fair planning, not your land grab. It will require community engagement and public presentation. I urge the town board to ensure and reassure us that the NRI will be transparent and independent. Thank you.
Thank you, Roxanne. Lisa, if you'd be kind enough to state your name, please.
Lisa Polero. This week I emailed the supervisor, Bill Hamill, and Jacob Testa an article regarding an eminent domain action in Toms River, New Jersey, which parallels the Red Hook action that the three of them voted to advance. Where they diverge is the response by local leadership due to widespread opposition. The mayor of Toms River has halted the process pending a poll of residents, something you have been asked to do since the public hearing. The mayor stated, "I want to reassess what the public opinion is on it. I don't push forward with something that I think is a good idea if the public rejects it." What a novel approach to leadership. Another similarity between Toms River and Red Hook is the fallout. In Toms River, where like in Red Hook, the vote to proceed was by a one-person margin, several candidates backed by the mayor were defeated. This has been played out here twice during the recent Democratic caucuses. And the three of you who voted aye have seen your future, no doubt. And I imagine it was uncomfortable for you and anyone who attended the caucus with you to hear multiple speakers criticize your vote and question your motivation. This was your own party, underscoring this is not a partisan issue, but one widely condemned and of grave concern. That should give you pause. On July 15th, two board members stated that they have not heard overwhelming support, but the supervisor has claimed, and Jacob Testa stated, that they have heard from many in favor of taking the boat club. There are myriad letters, petitions, and public statements in opposition, but no evidence of widespread support. So how can Christine Kane's and Julia Solomon's rationale and Jacob Testa's rationale, which vary so greatly, both be true? The Daily Catch reported today that the boat club has put forth a second proposal for a partnership. It would be refreshing to hear from each of you regarding the proposal and not just the supervisor. You don't need permission to do so. His statement, "A public park exists on public land," tells us he is not willing to compromise and never was. Jacob and Bill, are you? Look what this action has done to our town, your own party, and your reputations, and what it has resulted in for one of your colleagues after 40 years of service. Are you okay with that? So in the face of continued outrage and suspicion, ridicule by your own party, two caucus outcomes influenced by the action of this board, conflicting rationales, mounting costs, and an opportunity on the table to engage in serious, productive discussions, do any of you have the courage to emulate the mayor of Toms River, reassess public sentiment, and change course? We're waiting to find out.
Thank you, Lisa. Anybody else like to make some comments? Okay, hearing none, we're going to dive into our agenda for tonight. I would like to say there were some remarks about the affordable housing and RUPCO, and I would, as a reminder, if you haven't been following along, we've had meetings about this for 2 years. We met with all the area affordable housing development companies. RUPCO was the only one willing to take on this project. We have not only discussed it at meetings, it's been subject of public hearings in the village of Red Hook. We have sent to every household design sketches that were provided to us by RUPCO throughout both the villages and the towns on this project. We've gone to extraordinary length to make everyone aware of this project. Moving forward, we're very proud of it because it not only includes multifamily, which is typical for affordable housing, but what's unique, excuse me, about this project is it has 20 single-family homes that will also be affordable, and that's a legal term, meaning that will meet income guidelines that will be available for people in our community and families in our community that are finding it hard to remain in our community. So we've gone to extraordinary lengths, many meetings about it. It has been communicated as best as we can to our residents. So with that being said, we're going to dive into agenda item number 1, which is authorizing the submission of an application for a Parks, the New York State Parks EPF fund grant. And this is once again to remind the folks at home where we are in this process. Cookingham Farm, we develop trails. Those trails go on the western side of the property. It has always been our intention, and we've communicated that also in a mailer to every household in the town of Red Hook with a map, that we intend to connect those trails to the rec park via a bridge over the Sawkill. We received a Greenway grant to help design the bridge itself, and now we are looking to getting funding from the state for construction of the bridge itself. So we're looking at applying for, and we have Brandy Nelson, our engineer, with us tonight, and Brandy's firm has prepared the grant application for us, and we're looking to get $300,000, right, Brandy, towards the project. Is there more that you'd like to add, Brandy, on this?
Sure, thank you. So with the application package tonight, there is the draft application. So we still need to do a final read through on it, but one of the items that needs to be appended to the application is an authorizing resolution. This is a program through Office of Parks that obtains recreational trail program fund money that comes from a federal source. The maximum amount you can ask for is $300,000, and the minimum match is 20%. So it would be going towards the cost of the Sawkill Bridge.
Okay. And for the folks at home or in the room, if you haven't seen the exact location, these red hash lines here on the map above show the existing trails now on Cookingham West. This solid red line is the approximate location. Do I have that fairly accurately,
Yes.
Brandy? Okay. Of where the trail extension would go, and then it would cross over into the rec park. Anything else we should know? Okay. It's going to be necessary, I believe, for us to get some grant funding to complete this project, because as we started to get the sense, the tariffs and other escalating costs are going to impact them. So this is important that we get this out there. We would expect to hear later this year, at the end of the year, probably on this one.
Yeah, typically the CFA program makes announcements of awards in mid to late December each year. That's what they've been doing the last couple of years. I'd expect similar this year.
Okay.
Robert, what did you say about the tariffs? You weren't speaking into the mic.
As you're saying that we're understanding that the cost of steel may be escalating, is that right, Brandy?
Yeah, so we've been working with a turnkey bridge manufacturer that specializes in pedestrian bridges, prefab pedestrian bridges. And what they've told us is that steel prices are rising right now. And so we have to keep re-upping our requests for pricing from them every 30 to 60 days because of the changes in prices. So we're anticipating that if prices rise, we would want to secure grant funds to help cover the costs and reduce the amount that the town is paying for this project.
Thank you.
Okay. Do we have any questions, town board members? Got time to review the applications. This is resolution number 50 of 2025.
So before we just clarify a couple things? So it's ADA accessible, right? There are ADA paths leading on both sides, and the bridge has been designed with possible flooding in mind
So
for height and
The bridge is in design right now, but yes, the intention is for it to be accessible and to have both a bridge and a boardwalk section to address the floodplain issue through the crossing from Rec Park East to Cookingham Trails. Yes.
So the water can pass over and through the bridge.
Correct,
in
and
extreme weather.
we will be completing a hydraulic analysis for that as well. The other thing is, just so the board is aware, for this application, we also have letters of support from the villages who've been big proponents of the B2B trail system. Creating this bridge will close the link basically in an off-road connection between the villages. And also we were able to get a letter of support from county planning, who's also been a proponent of the trail network that the town's been working on for the last few years.
And ultimately, the trail will connect with the Empire State Trail, which is why we hope the state will be interested in participating. There are two voids. We've spoken about this before. Connecting one village to another, we're 90-some-odd% of the way there. This is one of two, the bridge over to Rec Park. The other is crossing 9G over by Bard College to then take the Lee Bays connection up to the village. Other than that, I think we're there. So this is a good step forward. This is something just to manage expectations. Do not expect this to be built this year. Do not expect it to be built likely next year. But in 27, that would be our hope, is that we could do that. If we get lucky, we could consider 26, right? Okay. Resolution number 50 dated July 29th, authorizing submission of an application for a New York State Office of Parks, Recreation, and Historic Preservation Recreational Trails Program grant. And who would like to move this one?
So moved.
Thank you, Christine.
Second.
Thank you, Jacob. Any further discussion? Okay, if not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. We are moving on to number 2. This is a resolution authorizing submission of an application for an Empire State Development Regional Council capital funds grant related to the TND sewer collection system. And Brandy, do you want to just briefly, for the public?
Sure. Sure. So for the last couple of years, the town has been working to form a sewer district through the TND so that the TND can attain the density goals that were established when the TND was formed. That process had started with a preliminary engineering study, and as part of that preliminary engineering study, we conducted an alternatives evaluation of sewer design options. A preferred option was selected, so that forms the basis of the price that is included here for the total project of $6.596 million. That is for the total cost for the construction of the sewer collection system. The sewage would be then conveyed, as it stands now, to the village as part of a joint effort between the town and the village to share services. And so this grant application seeks regional capital council funds towards infrastructure, so this would go towards the construction costs associated with the sewer, similar to the Office of Parks grant application. This application does require an authorizing municipal resolution, so that's what you have before you tonight. The request for funds that the town would be making in this application is $1.25 million. The program requires there be a minimum 10% match, but in this case, the project cost is much more than the balance of the project cost, excuse me, is much more than 10%. So that would be covered. And I'm not sure what else to tell you about this one. Again, this too is a draft application. I know there were a few comments that I've received, a couple of typos that do need to be corrected, but in general, we've gone through this and the content is as what is required for the application to be made. And again, the basis is the engineering study that was done in 2024 for the sewer district formation.
Thank you, Brandy. And as a reminder to the folks at home, this is what's referred to as a special benefit assessment district, meaning that the costs are borne by the users. The users are the property owners that are within sewer district number 1. As it turns out, today we did receive final approval for the creation of sewer district number 1 from the Office of the Comptroller. And so it's rather timely we get this application in, and it will also increase our chances of getting grant funding from various sources. So 1.25 million is this application amount, and for this we would hope to hear
Same time frame. Yeah,
late December.
correct.
Okay. All right. Any questions, town board members? I know you've had a chance to look at it. This is resolution number 51. Get back up there to it. Authorizing submission of application for an Empire State Development Regional Council Capital Funds Program grant, and this is sort of critical to economic development in our community. We have some properties that, we have a property that was lost to a fire, as you all know, down in this TND area. We've got properties that are underutilized, waiting to increase infill development, none of which can be done until we have the proper infrastructure. We've been working diligently for the last 2 years towards this, and in fact are appropriating some of the ARPA monies that we were granted a couple years ago towards this effort. So with that being said, who would like to move resolution 51, applying for $1.25 million?
I'd like to move.
What?
Bill,
You'll buy an house, okay.
second.
All right. And seconded by Christine. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor? Jacob?
Aye.
Myself, aye. Ayes. The resolution passes. Bill, you're an aye. Christine, you're an aye.
Yep.
Okay. All right, moving right along, we're now on the resolution to approve a contract with DEC for the natural resources inventory. We did receive this grant for $63,000 and change. And like with many grants, contracts that we receive from the state, we approve them, but quite frankly, it's a sort of a pro forma thing, because the state really delivers the contract in a form that we have to approve it, that they will accept. And so that's why we have resolution number 52. Whereas the Department of Environmental Conservation has awarded a grant to the town in the amount of $63,820 for the conduct of natural resource inventory with a local match of $9,877, as more specifically shown in the grant agreement on file, and therefore be it resolved that we, the town of Red Hook, the town board, by a vote of not less than a majority of all the members, will execute this grant in the format that is being furnished to you all, and that is resolution number 52. Are there any questions about the grant itself?
No.
Okay. So let's go ahead and entertain a motion. NRI.
I'll move that.
I had a feeling you might, because of the subject matter. Okay, thanks, Jacob. Is there a second?
Second.
Christine? Further discussion? If not, all in favor, Bill? Myself? 4-0. Resolution 52 passes. So we'll be hiring a consultant to shepherd the process. There are firms that have worked on these types of initiatives before, so they don't have to reinvent the wheel. On the other hand, we will of course want to do it our way. We have that RFP, a draft RFP here. Consultant will undertake a natural resources inventory to compile, describe, and map Red Hook's important natural resources. Some of this data is already available, so there is a lot of compiling. The town is in the process of updating its comprehensive plan, so this is a good time to be doing that. And obviously, we have historically identified natural resources as a priority. The NRI will detail the significance of those resources to the community, as well as identifying existing and potential threats, and provide recommendations for sustainability, resource preservation, conservation, and economic development. And the consultant will demonstrate best practices in gathering natural resource and conservation information into a single inventory with GIS mapping so it can be updated. Analysis and recommendations for critical habitats in the town. The document will be a narrative booklet, a map set, and an online mapping tool at the county level. The NRI includes a natural resources inventory as well as municipal, scenic, cultural, historical, and agricultural resources. That's part of the initial description. There's a lot of public engagement in this process. Any questions about the RFP, folks? We ready to entertain resolution number 53?
Yep.
We're moving right along to it. Okay, who would like to move it?
I'll move it. I'll say thanks to Bill Allen for spearheading this as a member of the CAC and others on the committee for reviewing this in advance of us considering it. So I'll move it.
Absolutely.
I'll second.
Okay, and any further discussion? Christine? Aye. Myself, aye, and also would like to echo the sentiments to Bill Allen. He's really spearheaded this effort, and to the CAC for their work involved with this. And there's a suggested task force list that will add to, we do have some reorganization, which is essentially this. They had a list of folks that they reached out to help with this process. We will have public engagement as well as a task force. They're asking. Apologies.
Next one.
We'll get there. Okay. So Bill Allen, who's on the CAC, Jen Kavanaugh, Alex Wolf, who's a new member, Mayor Major, and our town historian, Emily Major. And these are folks that all have agreed: village resident Betsy Brower, Amy Shine.
There's a typo in her name too.
Yeah, her spelling's correct. We can make that change. Sam Rose, Sam Fallon, Steve Hackendike, and Zoe Evans have all agreed to be.
And Emma was also in the Village of Tivoli mayor.
Right. Yeah, I think the affiliations, we were leaving off. Yeah. So we're gonna add this as a subset of the CAC, put it in a task force, maybe with an ending
I think that
date
probably makes the
of
most sense.
Okay.
Yeah, concluding at the,
26?
yeah. I think
The end
that's
of
the timing,
26?
Because I think the RFP calls for this to be completed within 12 months, and then there's an opportunity to extend a little bit, so
Okay.
I think end of 2026 makes sense, and the work
Okay.
should be done
Okay.
by then, I would anticipate.
And is Bill gonna be the chair?
I think you
Okay.
should be the person leading this.
Okay. So Jacob, do you want to make a motion that we establish the task force with Bill Allen as the chair for a term ending December 2026?
I do, so moved.
Is there a second to that?
Second.
Thank you, Christine. Any further discussion? If not, with thanks, all in favor? Myself, aye. The vote is cast 4-0. Jacob and Christine, yes, your ayes?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Motion and second. We also have an applicant for the planning board, Jay Acquaintance, who has a very distinguished resume, including being the president of a community college. He's met with the chair of the planning board, and we do have a couple of openings there, and is recommending that we appoint Jay to the planning board. Can we look at our reorg list to see what the options are? Well, obviously that vacancy that says 2023 really is 2030. So our options are a vacancy that ends in 2026 or one that ends in 2030.
Why don't we do 2026? Make sure he likes it.
Make
He
sure
liked
it
him.
links in, okay. Yeah, we can do that. We're gonna have another vacancy most likely as well. All right. More thoughts on that? If not, who would like to make a motion to appoint?
So moved.
Christine, Jake Acquaintance, for the term ending in December 2026. Is there a second for that? Bill, okay. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, this may be in record time. We've got our department reports. Who'd like to do building and zoning? Bill, are you doing that?
I should, but it wasn't in my packet.
It's right here on the big screen.
Makes it easier. So can you scroll down just a little bit? Just want to see the time period? No, there we go. So for the month of July, which ends this week, the building department has issued 53 permits, conducted 114 inspections, issued 19 certificates of occupancy or completion. They did not have any complaints, and they generated $23,000 in change in revenue for the month.
Thank you very much, Bill. We want to thank the building and zoning department. We're a little shorthanded unexpectedly, and they've really stepped up. For the folks at home, just a reminder, for the next several weeks, building and zoning will be open 4 days a week, Monday through Thursday. Next up on the department reports, highway. Jacob?
Yep. So Teresa has a report for July, includes a few updates on projects that have been ongoing, including chip seal on Grand Morton Seymour. They contracted with Orman Brothers to apply 2 more chip seal to Grand Morton Seymour Drive. This project was completed in a timely fashion, budget allotted. It's going to protect and seal the road from deterioration. So glad to have that done. For Jefferson and Adams paving, Colorazo and Sons won the bid. The work is expected to begin sometime in late August, so we'll look at that later in the summer. The Sauk Hill Bridge replacement, plans have been updated, awaiting location of the new valve to finalize waterline profile. Right-of-way clearance is ongoing. Hopefully going to have that done early fall for late fall bid opening this year. For the waterline, the limits of the waterline replacement sizes were agreed to, and the contractor can proceed with preparing a health department permit. So good to have that project moving along. Forest Park drainage, the highway department has compared different drainage approaches to look for the most cost-effective design. Construction is expected to begin in August, weather and schedules permitting, some other thing happening later this summer. For the Bryan grant, the highway department's met with the vendor, discussed the equipment necessary, put the program into place, providing preliminary estimates for the mixing, storage, and application process. It's going to need to be housed in a shed because there's not an appropriate location currently at the highway grounds. Brandy met with the vendor to discuss the operation. I'm going to wait for guidance for the next steps. And then the last note here is about the salt shed. So as we've talked about it in a number of meetings, deterioration for the shed. Teresa has some photos here. Ryan Einbon has done an inspection, and we're waiting for a recommendation. So that's forthcoming. So thanks to Teresa and the department for all their work.
Thanks, Jacob. And just as a reminder for folks, with the Aspinwall Bridge, we received a Bridge New York grant for over $1 million. We received additional funding from DCTC of over $500,000 towards that project. The Bryan grant we received from WQIP, a state program, $250,000 towards that. The goal is to pre-treat the roads when appropriate to help save not only impacts financially but environmentally during many storm predictions. Okay, and salt shed, we're going to have to deal with the salt shed soon. All right. Monthly police report. Bill.
For the month of June, they were busy. They responded to 144, they say incidents, but they're calls. They issued 18 road violations, generally speeding, 1 parking ticket, and they made 2 arrests. And unfortunately, my copy only gives me the even pages, so I don't have everything on mine, but they doesn't really look any different than they normally look, except that there were a lot of medical emergencies that were responded to during this period, because they are often the first responder to a medical emergency.
Okay. Very good. Rec.
Okay, so a lot of focus on the summer rec program, which started on June 30th and will end this Friday on August 1st. We had 235 participants sign up, and daily attendance so far has not exceeded 150. In connection with that, there's been, we had to have 2 inspections from Dutchess County Board of Health, which we passed with flying colors, so all of that was good. Required first aid and defibrillator and CPR certifications are also were done and in place, so that is good, taken care of. As you might imagine, there's a lot of maintenance going on. That's continual, right, during the summer with mowing and property line cleanup, fence line cleanups, repairs or replacement, I guess I should say, of materials on the various ball fields. Excuse me, we have there was a group of people that conducted some fundraising to get a memorial bench put in the town park to honor Tom Gilbert, the memory of Tom Gilbert. And they have met the goal, the price of that, so that is underway and the bench has been ordered. And I believe that the slab is ready and waiting for when the bench comes in, and the park staff will install that. In addition, rec staff painted all the picnic tables in the park before the start of the summer program for kids. They do that every year to extend the life of the tables. And a reminder that, you know, due to increased use and climate change issues, that the park is opening earlier and earlier each year and staying open further and further into the fall. So that will, excuse me, can affect our budgeting as we look at staffing lines for the rec department. Also, there's a continuing problem with the, I guess, the septic at the bathrooms in Rec Park East. So that has a number of repairs have been tried, and it's working again now, but it may need a larger repair, so we're going to have that looked into. And other adult rec programs continue, and at pretty much full use and full signups. We have an Eagle Scout who is started his project in mid-July to create a, I guess a baseball shed they're calling it. And so the concrete slab has been poured, and the plans have been developed and all approved, and they are starting to build the actual shed. And there was a bit of a problem with the free Wi-Fi at the park, so John Kuhn worked with Spectrum to get that fixed and working again, and that's generally it.
Thank you, Christine. I noticed, I don't know if you saw the pictures John sent around, they introduced the camp staff
Gaga ball pit. I don't know what that is, but
So
it was
it's
a big
an
hit.
inflatable thing. It looks like almost like an inflatable pool, and you play inside it. But it was a big hit with the campers. Our camp comes to a close this Friday. It's been, once again, thanks to all our staffers and counselors, a huge success. We did have 2 cancellations, one being today because of the heat. So it makes me think, you know, about a water feature, maybe. I know that poses a challenge, but maybe something to consider in the future if we have space for it. But thanks to all of those folks working towards it. You'll hear me say this probably every opportunity. We're very proud of the fact that we're able to offer a free summer camp to families in the township. Okay, let's talk about water, shall we, Bill?
Sure. Last week, the Water Department held its monthly meeting. It's, I think, the 3rd Thursday of every month, with our operator and the chair, and this time the vice chair, Jerry Gilnick, came and they go over all the production. There is an issue with well number 1. The wells were rehabbed about 3 years ago completely, and now it's it's having some issues in pumping the amount of water that it normally pumps. So we're gonna have to have somebody come in and do what they did before, which is drop the cameras into the wells and see what the condition of that well is. They've been running well for a long time, but Hank did indicate that there have been issues with well number 1 in the past, which is why the rehab was done. And the only way they're going to be able to know and diagnose what the issue is to go in and take a look. And there has been discussion among the water board about drilling a 3rd well anyway, so this may be the impetus to explore that.
Okay, and when do they plan on getting the inspection?
I
Do they
think
know?
that probably within the next 2 weeks.
Okay,
There were 2 different companies that were giving bids for,
okay.
and Jerry is he's semi-retired from the county wastewater authority, but they have a list of some good vendors that they've used, and they've reached out. So we're gonna have to we'll probably have to bid it.
But is Dan helping with that?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Okay, anything else on water?
No, the water's good.
Water's good?
It's always good.
Okay, Bill, I guess you're gonna do ZBA as well, right?
Yeah, this is, I guess, a new feature for our monthlies. They just started doing this a couple months ago. And they just sort of recap what happens at the last meeting. They meet once a month if there's business. Last month, they had a meeting. Ken Mingarelli had an application in for a variance, and they approved it.
Okay. All right, well, that concludes the department board and committee reports. We just have one item of correspondence, and that's from DCTC. They are, as they always do, they're conducting pedestrian and bicycle counts for 2025. They want our input on locations. They have in their list, their recommendation is they're going to do in the village, Route 9, Broadway, and 199. This is right there at the intersection, it looks like. They do manual counts. You'll see from time to time folks sitting there, right? Some of our CAC people, I
Yeah.
think, do that, right,
Yeah.
Jacob? And assist with that effort. But as far as the town, it was a little confusing to me, Annandale Road between Woods Avenue and North Ravine, so that's on the BART campus, or in that area, okay. This is their recommendation, they're gonna do it by video. Oh, this is on the trail, okay, yeah, that's right. And the last time they did it was back in 2022. So if you have some thoughts on another location, let's share that soon, because I think they want feedback within the week. Okay. Folks, thank you very much. This has been a rather quick meeting here tonight. I'd like to thank you for coming. I hope you stay well and stay cool. This would be a good time to remind you that the town's official cooling center is the Red Hook Community Center. The relationship between the township and the community center is pretty extensive. We help fund the programming there, but also we applied for some grants and we funded a generator there so that they can remain open. As you know, it's also a location of the Office of the Aging Friendship Site, and so we've made the community center our official cooling center. So please let folks know who need a place to go during these types of evenings. With that being said, I'd like to thank you again and entertain a motion to go into attorney-client. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Art. Good night, all.